This video is on multi-step inequalities. Okay, multi-step inequalities are very similar to multi-step equations. We're going to go through the same sort of steps, but what we really need to remember is our solution is not just a number. So we can't say our answer is 8. Our answer is a variable, a sign, and a number. So x is greater than x. Oh, x is greater than x. X is greater than 8, or x is less than or equal to 8. So it's a set of numbers that give you a true statement in your inequality. The other thing we need to remember is that when you have to divide or multiply by a negative number on both sides, we have to switch the direction of the inequality sign. So when we go to solve inequalities, we're going to go through very similar steps every time. Our goal is to simplify our equation so that then it's ready to be solved using 2 steps. Okay, so we're going to do a few examples on this. All right. So let's do an example that has most steps that you would have to do for an inequality. All right, so let's do this one. It's going to look like kind of scary and intimidating, but when it comes down to it, we have all the tools to do it. So we know how to simplify expressions, and we know how to solve 2-step inequalities. So we're going to combine those two things into one problem. So here is our inequality. 3 times the quantity x minus 3 minus 5x is greater than negative 3x minus x. So we want to know what numbers when we substitute in will give us a true statement. So we look at the order that we will solve multi-step inequalities, and if you look at these first 3 steps, these are all to simplify the inequality, and these are all to solve the inequality. Okay, so we're going to go through the steps of simplifying. The first thing I need to remember is when I see parentheses, I can't do any adding or subtracting. What I'm going to have to do is distribute properties. So that's why you'll see in simplifying that I'm always going to distribute first if there's distribution. Okay, so if there's parentheses, I'm always going to take care of them first. So I do have some distribution here. I have 3 times x and 3 times minus 3, which is minus 9. And then everything else just gets brought down. Okay. Step 2 says combine like terms that are on the same side of the equal sign. Oh my goodness, that shouldn't say equal sign. That should say of the inequality sign. Oh, that's not the right thing. So I guess what do? Let's say the same side of the inequality here. Oh my gosh. Inequality. Oh my goodness gracious, great balls of fire. That's very upsetting to me. Oh well, okay, let's get over it. All right, so I'm going to combine like terms on the same side of the inequality. So if I look, 3x and minus 5x, these two are like terms. So I'm going to combine them. 3 plus a negative 5 is negative 2x. Minus 9 is greater than negative 3x minus 6. Okay, so I distributed property, any like terms, I combined, but now I notice there are variables on both sides. So what I need to do is make sure the variable are together on the same side. So I'm going to take the minus 3x. I tend to move from right to left if at all possible. I like to move my variables on the right over to the left because that's typically what equations and inequalities look like. So I'm going to take this 3 and I'm going to take it away by adding the opposite. So I'm going to add 3x. I'm going to add 3x to this 2x. All right, and I'm going to get x minus 9 is greater than negative 6. The way I got x was negative 2 plus 3 is 1, and 1x is just x. One thing I want to note is that when I combine like terms, I didn't do opposite signs. I didn't do 3x plus 5x up at the first step. I did 3 minus 5 is negative 2. However, when I move a variable across the inequality sign, I do the opposite sign. So if I go to the opposite side, I use the opposite side. However, when I combine like terms, I use whatever symbol is in front of it. All right, so I'm going to finish solving. This is actually just a one-step equation. I didn't even get a two-step. I know how to solve this. I'm going to add 9, and I get x is greater than negative 6 plus 9 is 3. So x is bigger than 3. So all the numbers bigger than 3 will work in this inequality. Okay, so again, my answer isn't just 3, it's all the numbers bigger than 3. In fact, 3 isn't part of the solution there. 3 is just a boundary for it, okay, because it doesn't say or equal to. Okay, so let's do another example. Example 2. And I recommend that you try this example on your own and then pause the video, try the inequality on your own, and then see if you and I get the same answer. Oh, here's a good one. Let's do this one. 5n minus 6n is less than or equal to 8 minus 8n minus n. So again, I recommend that you pause the video and then try this one on your own, and then watch the video, we finish the video and see if we get the same answer. Okay, so I hope you paused it and tried it. So let's go through it. So there's no distributive property because there's no parentheses. So now I go to step 2. It says combine like terms on the same side of the inequality. Negative 5 and minus 6, or minus 5n and minus 6n are like terms. Negative 5 minus 6n is negative 11n. On this side, I have minus 8n and minus n are like terms. So that's negative 8 plus a negative 1, or you can think of it as negative 8 minus 1, which either way we get negative 9. All right. So now I have variables on both sides. So I'm going to get rid of this 9n by using the opposite sign. Add my 9n, I get negative 2n is less than or equal to 8. And now I have a one-step inequality again. Oh, all these one-step inequalities are great. Divide by negative 2. And I get n is, I divided by a negative, so I've got to switch the sign, greater than negative 4. So I switched it because I divided by a negative. So don't forget that. So as you solve equations, you're going to go through the same thing. If I do a multi-step equation, I'm going to go through the same simplifying process and the same solving process. However, the inequality, I got to be aware of a couple things. One is my solution is in a number. It's a variable, a symbol, and a number. And then if I multiply or divide by a negative number on both sides, I have to reverse the inequality sign. If it was positive, or sorry, if it was greater than, it becomes less than, and vice versa. Okay, so let's do a couple more examples. Okay, so let's do a couple more examples here. Example, I think this is 3. And example 4. All right, so for example 3, let's do negative 138 is greater than or equal to negative 6 times 6p minus 7. Okay, so again, I'm going to go through the same process. I'm going to simplify and then solve. So when I look at this one, I notice that there is parentheses, so I know I'm going to distribute. And I'm going to distribute a negative 6. All right, I'm going to multiply negative 6 times 6 and get negative 36p, and negative 6 times negative 7 is a positive 42. Just kind of a side note that I don't switch the sign because I didn't multiply negative 6 on both sides. I just distributed it. distributed it on one side. All right, now I have a two-step inequality. Subtract the 42. And I have to put that in a calculator. So negative 138 minus 42 is negative 180. Greater or equal to negative 36p. Divide by negative 36, and I get a positive 5. Switch that sign. All right, so switch the sign. All right, let's do another one. And again, I want you to try this one on your own. And then check to see if we get the same answer. So let's do this. 6 minus 4, 6n plus 7, greater than or equal to 6 minus 4. Actually, let's add that. All right, and then let's see, less than 100. Okay, so let's solve this one. There is parentheses, so I'm going to need to distribute. Actually, pause the video. Try it on your own. I gave away the first step. Pause it. Okay, so I hope you paused and tried this on your own. Now we can go over it. All right, so I'm going to distribute. I don't add that 6 plus 4 because I can't add anything until I distribute. Remember that. You can never add or subtract until you distribute. 4 times 6n is 24n. 4 times 7 is 28, which is less than 100. All right, so now I look. 6 and 28 are like terms, so I'm going to add those together. And I get 34. So 24n plus 34 is less than 100. Now I have a two-step equation. I think I'm going to get a fraction answer, which is okay. Subtract 34. 100 minus 34 is 66. Yeah, I'm definitely going to get a fraction answer, which is okay. Now divide by 24. And then I'm going to hit 66 divided by 24, and I get 2.75, but Miss Collier probably wants fractions. So in the calculator, if I hit math, enter, enter, I'll get 11/4. Okay? Or 2.75. Okay? So again, don't forget if you get decimals and fractions, sometimes the world doesn't always seem so pretty. Sometimes you get some ugly answers. All right, let's do one more example. I think this is example 5. All right, again, try this on your own. See what you get for your answer, and then we'll compare notes. Okay, so I hope you hit pause. I hope you try on your own. Let's do this. No parentheses. I'm going to combine some like terms. Negative 8 plus 2 is negative 6. Negative 5 and 7, negative 5x and 7x are like terms. It's a positive 2x. All right, so this is where it becomes wonky. If I move the 2x to the left, I'll be left with nothing. So in this case, this is one of those cases where I like to actually move the variable to over here. That way the variables are together. So I get negative 16 is less than 8x. 2 plus 6 is 8. Again, I add the 6 because I moved to the opposite side. So use the opposite sign. Then divide both sides by 2. And I get x is greater than negative 2. So again, with multi-step inequalities, simplify in the right order to suit a property, combine like terms, then move variables. Then you just have a two-step or even a one-step inequality, and you solve. Your solutions are your number, your symbol, and your variable. And when you multiply or divide by negative, be sure to change the sign.